Pāpaṁ vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, total victory of Hare Krishna. Today it is Isabela on the class. Whoop whoop. Yeah, let's get us started. We're doing Bhagavad-gita, wrong one. Chapter 5, verse 15. Wait, let me see if you can see it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Nādatte, what's that? Nādatte kasyacit pāpaṁ, na caiva sukṛtaṁ vibhu ajñānenāvṛtaṁ jñānam, tena muhyanti jantavaḥ. Na never ādatte accepts kasyacit, anyone's pāpam, sin na nor cha also eva, certainly sukṛtam, pious activities, vibhu, the Supreme Lord, ajñānena, by ignorance, āvṛtam, covered, jñānam, knowledge, tena, by that, muhyanti, bewildered, jantavaḥ, the living entities. Translation. Nor does the Supreme Spirit assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge.
Hello.
Hi, Mom. I'm doing the class.
Huh?
I'm doing the class.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, good. Purport. The Sanskrit word vibhu means the Supreme Lord who is oh my gosh, I can't read today anymore. Oh my gosh. Who is full of unlimited knowledge, riches, strength, fame, beauty, and renunciation. He is always satisfied in himself, undisturbed by sinful or pious activities. He does not create a particular situation for any living entity, but the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, desires to be put into certain conditions of life, and thereby his chain of action and reaction begins. A living entity is, by superior nature, full of knowledge. Nevertheless, he is prone to be influenced by ignorance due to his limited power. The Lord is omnipotent, but the living entity is not. The Lord is vibhu, or omniscient, but the living entity is anu, or atomic. Because he is a living soul, he has the capacity to desire by his free will. Such desire is fulfilled only by the omnipotent Lord. And so, when the living entity is bewildered in his desires, the Lord allows him to fulfill these desires, but the Lord is never responsible for the actions and reactions of the particular situation which may be desired. Being in a bewildered condition, therefore, the embodied soul identifies himself with the circumstantial material body and becomes subjected to the temporary misery and happiness of life. The Lord is the constant companion of the living entity as Paramatma, or the Supersoul, and therefore he can understand the desires of the individual soul, as one can smell the flavor of a flower by being near it. Desire is a subtle form of conditioning of the living entity. The Lord fulfills his desire as he deserves. Man proposes and God disposes. The individual is not, therefore, omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires, and the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of... Can you please close the door?
Yeah. Is that what you want to tell?
Can you please close the door? Sorry.
All right.
Sorry, kids. Just had to close the door. People out there talking. Damn. Okay, let's see how the camera's positioned now. Just dumped you guys for a while. Sorry about that. Oh, 3 viewers, great. Okay, so desire is a subtle form of conditioning of the living entity. The Lord fulfills his desire as he deserves. Man proposes and God disposes. The individual is not, therefore, omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires, and the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute, independent living entities. However, when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way that he can attain to him and be eternally happy. The Vedic hymn therefore declares, oh no, it didn't. Esa uhi eva sadhu karma karayati tam yame byoyo loke bya uninisate. Esa, this is probably like a song. I may have heard it previously, I just can't remember the tune or whatever. Esa u eva sadhu karma karayati yamado nisate ajño jantur aniso yam atmana sukha dukayo ishvara prerito gachit svargam vashvabaram evacha. The Lord engages the living entity in pious activities so he may be elevated. The Lord engages him in impious activities so he may go to hell. The living entity is completely dependent in his distress and happiness. By the will of the Supreme Lord, he can go to the heaven or hell as a cloud is driven by the air. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. Consequently, na sapik sattvat tatahi darshayati. The Lord neither hates nor likes anyone, though he appears to. Long purport. Let's look at changes. Okay. 515. Nor does the Supreme Spirit has been changed to, nor does the Supreme Lord. Let's go check out why. Okay, no reasons till further on, but let's see what it is in the original manuscript. Is that number 14? Okay, 15. Nor. Okay, so they've completely changed it from the original manuscript. Wait, is that? Am I 100% sure that it's 515? Yeah, okay. Okay, guys. Okay, so Supreme Spirit, Supreme Lord. I mean, Supreme Spirit sounds a lot more spiritual, and Supreme Lord sounds more religious? I don't know how to put it, but either way, like, you get it, you know? The Supreme Spirit, Supreme Lord, Supreme, you know? Spirit, Lord, God, whatever. Not whatever, but, like, you understand it. Like, yeah. Vibhu with an H. Vibhu has been changed to vibhu without an H. Okay, let's check out. No, like, okay, no explanation. Original is, can't see it. Okay, so next change. Not that many changes. Very good for me, at least. Like, yeah. Okay, so next one is desire is a subtle form of conditioning of the living entity. Desire is a subtle form of conditioning for the living entity, of the living entity, for the living entity. Of seems more past tense, for seems more present or future tense. Present, future, of. Either way, they're like the same thing. Desire is the subtle form of conditioning of the living entity. Okay, it is. Desire is the subtle form of conditioning for the living entity. Same thing. To me, at least. Some English professor out there is probably going to be like, yo, no. Ain't the same thing at all. But, you know, to me it is. Cool. But, yeah. It seems... I feel like that's not really a big change. It, like, doesn't change the meaning. Like, previously, there have been things where it, like, completely changes the meaning. But that one, I see sort of how it could, but, like, yeah, pull a Kiwi, but yeah. Independent has been changed to independent. Reasons? No. Feel like that's just a modern language, English grammar change, whatever, blah blah. Okay, next change. This is where the stuff starts to get more changey. Okay, so the Vedic hymn therefore declares the Vedic hymn therefore declares the Vedic hymns therefore declare the Vedic hymn therefore declares. So the Vedic hymns. The Vedic hymn makes a lot more sense because this is the Vedic hymn. This is one of the Vedic hymns. But the Vedic hymns therefore declare, make it seem like all of them declare it, all the Vedic hymns declare it. But in the first one, the Vedic hymn therefore declares makes it seem like there's just one Vedic hymn. It's interesting. Like, I don't understand it. Either one is kind of like the Vedic hymn, the one Vedic hymn, and the other one's the Vedic hymns therefore declare all of them. It's like, huh? None of them, both of them are kind of, to me, because they're talking on one Vedic hymn. So I guess the first one makes more sense to me, at least, because the Vedic hymn, this could be the Vedic hymn in the, what's it called? No, never mind. This is a weird change. There's probably a reason. Let's see. The Vedic hymns therefore declare. In the original, it is, gotta go down. The Vedic hymn therefore declares. Okay, so they took it, like they usually say, oh yeah, we're taking it, closest to the manuscript. That's what we're doing because, yeah, but the Vedic hymns therefore declare that's taking it further away from the original manuscript. Okay, interesting. Okay, next change. Okay, this bit's confusing where they like switch things around and they're like, oh yeah, let's just go boing and just like add one thing and another thing and another thing and then take out that thing and then rearrange the formatting too. It's like, how do I address? Okay, I get it now. So in the Macmillan edition, we have both of the verses. I'm going to assume they're verses of the Vedic hymn that they are speaking of. But in this one, they have the first verse, translation for the first verse, second verse, translation for the second verse. Okay, so that makes sense now because they've just rearranged the formatting so that this one is directly, how do I put it? These two are together, so it's like, okay, which is which. So they rearrange it so you know which part of which hymn is like the, yeah, because as you can see, this is just one big sentence. This is the verse, which it correlates to this verse. And this verse correlates to this second half. I highlighted the wrong parts, but you get what I mean. So this one, oh, and they also give the, what's it called? The reference. So it's the Kausitaki Upanishad 3, chapter 3, verse 8. Okay, cool. Next one. Colon. That's a colon. Colon, Vaishamya, full stop. Oh, they added something. Okay. And that the Vedanta Sutras. Okay, so they give the reference for the Sanskrit quote just after. Okay, cool. And then they changed it, so confirm this. The Vedanta Sutras reference, also confirm this, full stop. Reference, what the verse, and then translation. And in this one, it's just the Vedanta Sutras, no reference, also confirm this, colon, insert, whatever here, full stop, then the translation. That is extremely confusing. I can't even understand myself, but woohoo, keeping it strong. Okay, so they both make sense. Also, this one lowercase b and this one uppercase b. Woohoo! They both make sense, both the same thing. Just added a full stop and it's like, okay. Okay, cool. Let's see if we have any comments. Whoa, okay. We have comments. Bhaktarawari says, Hare Krishna Bhaktarawari. Josh Wolf says, Hare Krishna Isabela Lee Alvarez. Bro's just casually shouting my full name out there. Okay. Why my full name? Sitapati? Please give me an explanation. Hare Krishna Isabela Lee Alvarez. Like, what have I done? Oh my gosh. Alright. Bhaktarawari says to Sitapati, Kia ora, my brother Sitapati Das, Josh Wolf from Odiora. See you this weekend. Harry Ball. Yes, we're going to the Thames Kirtan Festival. Anyone watching this who's not going, consider, Hello, Isabella. Hello, Ian Daniel. Josh Wolf. That's your Facebook profile tag. Okay, fair. My laptop's about to die. I need to plug it in. Oh, no. Should have thought of that before. Probably should have. I do not want my laptop to die halfway through the class because that is not a good thing. So I will go plug my laptop in. You guys can sit here. Hello. This isn't exactly the most professional, unprofessional Bhagavad-gita classes with Isabela. Woohoo! But here we are. Plugging it in now and hopefully it charges. Yes, it works. Good. Alright, so I'm back. Josh Wolf, that's your Facebook profile tag. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I'm not in trouble because you said my full name. Scary. But yeah, okay, cool. Hide. Woohoo. Okay, cool. Let's just continue. So, meaning and contemporary application are, but okay. Nor does the Supreme Spirit seem anyone's sinful or pious activities and body beings, however. Okay, so the Supreme Spirit, the Supreme Lord, it's really echoey in here. Here? It's echoey in here. Okay. Here. Okay, so the Lord is always satisfied in himself. He is undisturbed by any sinful activities, and he is undisturbed by pious activities. Because he's pure, cool. He does not create a particular situation. He's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to go send a big ass, I don't know, thing to destroy your life. But the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, desires to be put into certain conditions of life, and thereby the chain of action and reaction begins. So, living entity over here is like, yo, you know what? I want to be put into a certain condition of life. And then action and reaction, the chain begins because it's like, he does this, and then he gets the reaction. Like in Newton's first, second, or third law, can't remember, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, like karma, basically explaining it. And yeah. Look, the living entity isn't very powerful, but by superior nature is full of knowledge. I don't understand that sentence, but yeah. But the Lord is omnipotent, the living entity is not. Okay, I'm barely even discussing the actual meaning, well, the meaning as it seems to be to me. So the Supreme Spirit, the Supreme Lord, is not responsible for, well, how do I say this? Sorry, just give me a second to think. When I read stuff out loud, because you're focusing on reading out loud, you don't really get the meaning of the thing. So I usually have to quickly skim over the purport after, because I'm I don't get any of this. I just read it out to you guys, but I don't get anything. So it's oh, okay, Isabella, goofy. So, the Lord is a constant companion of the living entity, us. The Lord is always near. The Lord is always like, yo, hi. And the Lord fulfills the living entity's desire as he deserves. For example, if the living entity has been committing extremely devious acts and then was like, yo, I want $1 million. And he's like, please, dear Lord, give me $1 million. Do you really deserve that $1 million after you've been committing devious acts? No. So the Lord won't be like, well, the Lord ain't going to be like, yo, I'm going to give you $1 million. Like, yeah, no. And so that's where the saying man proposes and God disposes comes from. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing very well at this class so far, but we can continue trying because all I can do is try. That is all I can do. I may not be good at it, but I can try. The Lord is neutral to everyone, equal. But yeah, special care of devotees. All right, so I just skimmed that. So the Supreme Spirit, the Supreme Lord, is impartial. So everyone's equal in the eyes of the Lord. So he treats them equally, but if they do something bad, he doles out the same punishment or the same category level of harshness in the punishment. That's what I think, at least. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see if the mystical ghost has commented, because if the mystical ghost has commented, then we will be saved from this dilemma of not understanding. The Supreme Lord is not responsible. How do I say it? Is not responsible for impious and pious activities. That's up to the living entity himself. But the Lord has complete control over the living entity, except for thoughts and actions that the living entity commits. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. So the Lord does not assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. It's like, committed a sinful activity, Lord didn't make you commit a sinful activity. Commit a pious activity, Lord didn't make you commit a pious activity. You're out here doing it yourself, and you get rewarded based on which one you choose and the level of piousness or sinfulness. So the Lord isn't like manipulating your brain into making you do something. But I bet if he wanted to, he probably could. But the individual living entity has that power, although minute, to make decisions for himself. And the Lord takes no responsibility for those decisions because those aren't his decisions. Those are the living entity's decisions. Lord gives us free will. Who's texting me? Okay. Not a text, just a... Bhaktaravati, definitely we are all equal in the Lord's eyes. Yes. Yes, we are. That's what the purport says. I'm sure Prabhupada knew what he was doing. Bro was cool. Why am I calling Srila Prabhupada bro was cool? No, I'm sorry. He was very cool. Cool. Okay. Contemporary application before my mind explodes. Parents and teenagers. I'm going to pull that one out of my pocket. Okay, so the parents can guide the child and be like, yo, don't do that, and give them resources to not do that. For example, the Lord gave us Srila Prabhupada, who wrote these books, who gave us clear rules of what we're meant to do, what we aren't meant to do, rules and regulations, all of that stuff. However, the child, in relation to the parent, because they are bewildered by ignorance, which covers their real and sensible knowledge because they're a child or a teenager, whatever, goes out and is like, yeah, I'm actually gonna jump off this bridge because all my friends are doing it. And yeah, and then they get injured or something. And then it's like, the parents are like, we told you not to do that. We gave you resources not to do that. We said we'd even take you to the pool with a diving thing so you wouldn't do that because we gave you everything to do that. And then you were out here doing it. Like, we gave you everything, but the parent takes no responsibility for that decision that their teenager made. They gave them everything they needed to stop it, and even like maybe tried to stop them, but the teenager went out and just did it anyway. The adult takes no responsibility in the decision that the teenager made, but they do take responsibility in the fact that if they didn't stop them, then that's their responsibility because they, didn't try to coach them on not to do it. Like, yeah. And so the Lord has already coached us not to do it, so that bit's great. But he bears no responsibility or burden for what bad things or good things we have done because we made those decisions ourselves. Hopefully that I got that okay. I'm not 100% sure if that's exactly the point, but that's what I'm taking for it. So, taking from it. Okay. Let's move on to the Bhagavad-gita, the Te Reo Māori. So, Bhagavad-gita As It Is, chapter 5, verse 15, in Te Reo Māori, the Te Reo Māori translation, according to ChatGPT 3.5, is Ka hore ano te ariki nui e tango I ngā mahi hara, mahi tapu ranei o tētahi tangata. Hioi ano ke te hurihia te hango mau tinana e te he, nana te mōhio, whaiaro e takoto ana ki rungo I tō mōhio hoki I a rātou. Word for word. Ka hore ano nor does te ariki nui, the Supreme Lord, e tango assume I ngā anyone's mahihara, sinful activities, mahi tapu rāne, pious activities, or tētahi of anyone, tangata, person, hioi ano. However, kei te hurihia, bewildered, te hunga mau tinana, the embodied beings, e te he because of nana, te mōhio, whaiaro, ignorance, e takoto ana, which covers ki runga I te mōhio knowledge, hoki I a, there. Okay, cool. Well, I will wrap up the class now. I have finished my duty of what I was meant to do for today, the Bhagavad-gita class. I have more stuff to do, but this is one of them ticked off the list. Woohoo! Okay,